From outside the Cleveland County Courthouse in Norman, Oklahoma, I'm Dave Morris. Week 7, day 29 has just wrapped up. Behind me down here in Norman, on the witness stand today, Dr. Richard de la Garza. He's a neuropharmacologist. He was on the stand all day long today. He's a former Baylor professor who specializes in addiction pharmacology. He said he disagreed with earlier testimony in the trial by Dr. Andrew Kolodny, an expert witness for the state, who at the time said it was widely accepted in the scientific community that the prevalence of opioid use disorder among long-term users of opioids was as high as 25%. Dr. de la Garza said studies and systematic reviews that he believes are credible have cited a much lower incident rate of addiction.
Potential for abuse, with use potentially leading to severe psychological or physical dependence. Did I read that right so far?
Yes, sir.
And he goes on to say, these drugs are also considered dangerous. Did I read that right?
They are considered dangerous.
And that's what you just said they were not. They were not dangerous.
Yeah, you asked me whether or not they were specifically dangerous. Whether or not they are considered dangerous is quite different.
That's your explanation for why you disagree with the Schedule 2 from the DEA?
You can look at some of the drugs that are listed there. Adderall and Ritalin are given to adolescents in this country every year.
And
do you think that psychiatrists would prescribe drugs that are dangerous to adolescents?
Doctor,
that doesn't make any sense.
I know you can't prescribe these drugs because you're not a medical doctor, but seriously, are you challenging what it says from the DEA? These drugs are indeed dangerous.
I would challenge the wording that's being used here.
You've made a great point, and I just want to focus on it like a laser beam for just a minute. This is a great example. You're not in here telling the court your own personal opinions based on your medical expertise because you're not a doctor. Am I right so far?
So far, you're right.
You are taking articles written by others, and you're telling the court what they say.
No, I'm using my scientific experience and using that to interpret the articles.
Well, Doctor, the question that was written out by Commissioner White, because she was so outraged by your testimony, she wants to...
I'm going to object to that. It really isn't here or there as to what any of us here think about it, and it's improper to be loading up a question with that kind of argumentative statement. So I would ask the court to strike it. I'm
trying to set it up. We're going to call her as a rebuttal witness.
Also stand and ask you to restate the question.
I'll restate the question, Doctor. Don't you think it is incredibly dangerous for you to give testimony like that in open court and for adolescents to hear that?
All I'm doing is trying to state the facts that were presented in that specific article.
Did you know that Commissioner White has been working her heart out here in Oklahoma for 13 years trying to warn parents and adolescent children about the dangers of opioid use?
Your Honor, object beyond the scope. It's also argumentative in a way that's not proper.
I'll sustain the objection.
With respect to the review of scientific studies, whether it's clinical trials, whether it's systematic reviews, or whether it's meta-analysis.
Well, that's basically because I've done all of those sorts of things. I've spent my entire career publishing articles of that sort. I've not only served as a peer reviewer, I've published some of them myself, and then I've reviewed grants that contain data that are of the same nature. So I've spent my entire career looking at information like that and evaluating it for its scientific merit.
And what have you attempted to do today to try to be of assistance to the court?
My whole effort was really just to try to educate the court on what the science is that is relevant, pertinent to this particular case.
You can read more coverage from the Oklahoman's Randy Ellis. He was in the courtroom all day today. He posted a story after the lunch break today that you can read at oklahoman.com. He'll have a complete recap later tonight on oklahoman.com and in Wednesday's editions of the Oklahoman as well. Again, the court is wrapped up for today, Tuesday, day 29. Day 30 starts tomorrow at 9 a.m. I believe court will start at 9 a.m. for the remainder of this trial, which could wrap up perhaps closing statements as early as next week. Court tomorrow, by the way, runs from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. You can watch live online at oklahoman.com. From the Cleveland County Courthouse, I'm Dave Morris reporting for the Oklahoman.